Over the last 2 days, I made 2 tier lists. One for the positive traits in Project Zomboid and the other for the negative traits. Today we are looking at all the professions. I wanted to do this. I was actually surprised that some of you found those tier lists useful, and I said, hey, you know what? Let's actually do professions as well. So we have all of them over here, nicely, neatly in a line, and we're gonna start. These are alphabetically actually set up, and as always we have S, A, B, C, and wait, this is D. No. This is supposed to be F. Excuse me. This is F tier. All right, let's begin. So first and foremost, Burger Flipper. I have my second screen over there, so I know exactly what each of these ones do, because some of them, you know, add stuff that I never really play with them, and you know, I can't remember. So Burger Flipper is +2 cooking. There you go. So it has +2 cooking, it has +1 maintenance and +1 short blade, and you know some of the cooking recipes. Now, I just wanted to mention this because I wasn't clear when I was doing the positive traits. I am aware that when you get like bonus points to, let's say, cooking, you also get the bonus XP. I'm aware of that. That's fine. It doesn't change how I did the positive traits. So with Burger Flipper, cooking, not that useful. It's not that useful. You have maintenance. Maintenance is decent. You have short blade. Knives are not as good as they used to be like in the previous builds. So Burger Flipper, you actually get +2 points if you pick it, but I still don't think it's worth. Burger Flipper for me, it's like a C tier trait or profession to pick, so it stays there. Now, next we have Burglar. Burglar is one of the most popular traits out there, and it's mostly because you can hotwire cars right from the start, right? It's gonna cost you 6 points though. It's gonna cost you 6 points, but you can hotwire cars right from the start, and then you also get bonuses to +2 light-footed, nimble, and sneaking. If you're playing like a sneak tier, this is a high S tier if you're playing sneak, right? But to me, for 6 points, you can pretty easily get to 1 electrical and 2 mechanics in-game to be able to hotwire a car yourself, right? The car is to be hotwired by yourself. I think you can do this pretty easily. So for me, it's like really high A tier. I wouldn't put it in an S, but high A tier, really, especially like if you're playing a sneak build, S tier for sure. But I'll put it in the high A, I'll leave it there. Next we have Carpenter. Carpenter gives you +3 carpentry. It's gonna make you level it up much faster. You get 2 points? Yeah, you get 2 points out of it. And you also have +1 short blunt. Basically, if you go for like building your own base, construction, this is a very high tier for that, because you just build stuff, right? You're not really interested in fighting, but that is quite specific. If you are just playing to fight and do everything in general, I don't think it's that good of a trait. So put the Carpenter into B tier. It's definitely better than Burger Flipper for sure. Next we have Chef. Now with Chef, you actually have to spend 4 points. And all you get, it's like what? +1 cooking over Burger Flipper, right? And Burger Flipper is +2 points. Sure, you get a bit more XP from XP modifiers for cooking and such, but still, Chef for, is it really 4 points? Jesus. Yeah, Chef, F tier. Like Burger Flipper is better. 100%. Like it's definitely worth more. Chef for me, F tier, and it should stay there. It's just, look, it's just not worth it. The stuff you get the 1 maintenance, sure. You get the 1 short blade, sure. You get the recipes, sure. You get +3 cooking, but what are you gonna do with that? Like, what are you gonna cook? Are you gonna just play being a chef? No, it's definitely not worth the 4 points. It's an F tier trait. It's how it is. Of course, if you want to just go for memes or something like that, any trait is good. Any trait you can make work, but here, no. All right. Next, we have Construction Worker. Let's make sure. Yeah, it's +1 carpentry, +3 short blunt. If your weapon of choice would be short blunt, if you just want to use short blunt weapons, then Construction Worker is actually pretty good. But how much do you spend on this one? 2 points? It's definitely worse than Carpenter, but it's better than Burger Flipper. It's like low B. maybe high C. I don't know, we'll put it into high C tier for now. It's really not that amazing. All right, next we have a doctor. So doctor actually gives you +2 points, and you get +3 first aid, and you get +1 short blade. Is that correct? Yes. So let's be real. In multiplayer, it's really cool to have one doctor who can fix everybody, and they're gonna heal much better. But for single player, it's just not worth going to be a doctor, because in general, you don't want to get hit. So why be a doctor? Why have first aid skill if you just don't want to get hit? Like, for the only reason, because you actually do get 2 points out of it. I'm gonna put this into C tier and not into F tier. Actually, it's probably better than Burger Flipper. So C tier doctor for sure. Next we have electrician. So electrician gives you +3, yeah, electrical. It costs you -4 points though. The only reason why this one is good is because it allows you to operate generators from the start. But now, especially with Louis Will and how big it is and how many places you can actually find the generator book, I don't feel like it's actually useful going electrician anymore, especially not for 4 points. But just for that, the ability to actually operate generators and not worry about it, man, like, it's a C tier. It's a C tier. It's not higher. I'm sorry. It's just there. Now, next we have engineer. Engineer is really cool because there are some very specific traps and bombs and all that stuff that you can make as an engineer that nobody else can make. You know, some of them, a couple or like 4 of them or 3 of them, I think 3, are engineer specific and you cannot learn them through recipes, right? Engineer also gives you +1 carpentry and +1 electrical, right? And it costs you 4 points. So for those bombs and explosives, it's really cool. But then you realize, against zombies, that stuff doesn't do much. It makes noise, it attracts more zombies, it doesn't actually kill them, right? And they are very underwhelming. I would call engineer a trap occupation or trap profession, because it sounds really cool on paper, but when you actually use it, it's not fun. Like, pipe bombs are great against other players though. You know, you can definitely troll somebody or in PvP. That could be cool, but otherwise it's a trap trait, especially in single player. This is a C tier trait for me. It should stay there. All right, next we have a farmer. Now, you've seen my trait list, you've seen what I think about farming and such. Like, let me explain this over here, right? This one gives you +3 farming. Of course, it boosts your XP gain in farming. It gives you 2 points, so that's at least decent. But what are you gonna do with +3 farming, right? What are you gonna do? It's not worth being a farmer at all. Like, if you plant stuff and you harvest stuff, you'll, even without reading a book, you harvest a couple cabbages, you're gonna go to level 1.5 easily, maybe even 2, you know? Even you read a book, you'll go up to 3, right? From just like one patch of stuff. It's really easy to get up there in farming. It's not worth it, even though you actually get the 2 points. So that's like the actual bonus. You get the 2 points, but otherwise, farmer, for me, it's F tier trait and it should stay there. Next on the list, we have the fire officer. Now, the fire officer is interesting because it's kind of like a jack of all trades, but in this case, it's actually a jack of good trades. Because you get, let's see, +1 axe, +1 fitness, +1 sprinting, +1 strength. We all know fitness and strength are hard to level up. So actually getting an extra point in those is great. Having X and faster leveling up in X can be really useful. Although I personally prefer not to use axes in combat anymore. I keep them as my tools because they're just so precious and I don't want to use them in combat, maybe like hand axes and such. So fire officer is actually a really, really solid trait. It's also costs 0 points, so you don't need to take any negative traits. So this is like a high B trait for sure. I would say better than a carpenter, but carpenter doesn't want to move. There you go. There you go. High B trait, fire officer, almost A, I would say. Next on the list, we have the fisherman. So the fisherman is +3 fishing, +1 foraging. It costs you 2 points. If you want to roleplay as a fisherman, sure, go ahead. Otherwise, spending those 2 points and just fishing. Like, unless you maybe just wanna live in the wilderness, just make a cabin in the woods next to like a water, maybe a lake, or next to a river, and just live there, do nothing else. And I guess fishing could be useful because you actually be able to start catching some fish, because it can be slow to level up. But otherwise, this is down there. This is an F tier trait or F tier profession for me, and it just should stay there. It's just not that good. It's not worth it. Next, we have the fitness instructor. This one is actually interesting because fitness instructor gives you +3 fitness, which is huge. It also gives you +2 sprinting and extra XP for sprinting. So if you run around a lot, you will actually get faster, much faster. And since you have the +3 fitness, you're not gonna get tired as much. So this is actually a surprise for me. Like, before looking at this list and looking in details into fitness and structure, I would usually say, it gives you nutritionist. Who the fuck wants nutritionist? And you have to spend how much points? Let's see, 6 points. Yeah, 6 points is actually pretty high. And the fitness, it's one of those harder to level. Having extra sprint and XP, I'm surprising myself, but I'm actually putting this into A tier. Yeah, before today, I would never have put this into A tier. But just looking at this and thinking about it, thinking the builds you could make with this, I would actually put fitness and structure into A tier. I think it's actually A tier. Now, next we have my personal favorite from back in the day, right? This was always what I played previously when I played Project Zomboid. It was my favorite thing. And just for like role-playing purposes, because, Lumberjack, cool guy with an axe, what is there not to love? I was basically role-playing as myself, running around with an axe, chopping zombies down. It was awesome. You know what? The Lumberjack is still good. It gives you +2 axe, and, you level up axe faster. And gives you plus extra strength, which, again, is a really cool thing. It costs 0 points. Right, that's the big thing. It only costs 0 points, so you don't need to take any analysis if you just want to go with this. Most importantly, you get X-Men, so you will be swinging that axe faster. And if you actually go and use axe in combat, this is a really good one. Like if you just want to go axe in combat, you'll be swinging faster. You'll be hitting those zombies. Lumberjack, A tier. It can go into A tier and it can stay there, and just for all time's sake, it's just awesome. All right, next we have mechanic. So mechanic gives you +3 in mechanics and makes you level up faster. So this is a good one, especially for multiplayer. If you want to be like your repairman for fixer for the cars, and you want to fix cars for everybody. This is a great one to go. It's good for all playing like that. Very importantly for single player, this allows you to operate on all vehicles, right? If you, let's say, pick illiterate, so you cannot read any of the magazines to be able to operate on vehicles, going with mechanic is actually gonna fix that. So you all already know how to work on all the vehicles. You have the knowledge of that, and that's actually really good. It's really important. And I think how much does it cost? Mechanic is -4. It also gives you, let's see, it gives you 1 short blunt, so, short blunt, like, doesn't really matter that much, but mechanic is a solid B tier. It's not higher. I don't think it's higher, but it's definitely a solid B tier trade, right? It's decent, but it's not higher because unless you pick literate, you can easily find all those magazines and learn how to operate on cars yourself, right? That's why it cannot be higher. Next, then we have Metalworker. Metalworker, in my opinion, it's a bit of a trap profession, again, because it sounds like a cool profession. Hey, you'll be able to make cool metal stuff, but once again, there's magazines where you can learn all of that. Metalworking gives you +3 to metalworking, which is sure good, but it does cost 6 points. For 6 points, I don't think it's worth it. I do not think it's worth it. That being said, metalworking is one of the more annoying professions or traits or skills to level up. So just for that, it could be useful to start with it. But in general, I think Metalworker for the 6 points, it's down here. It's in the C tier. It doesn't really belong higher than that. It should stay there. And that's how it is. Next, we have Nurse. And I'm not talking about your favorite YouTuber, Nurse. No. She's great and all. But in Project Zomboid, being a nurse is not that useful. You can see that we put Doctor over here, right? Wait, Nurse is plus 2 points and Doctor is plus 2 points, right? Both are plus 2 points. Nurse gives you plus 2 first aid, while Doctor gives you plus 3. And then Nurse gives you 1 light-footed, which I would actually say it makes it better than a Doctor in that regard. It's still not a good trait, or still not a good profession, because you don't really care about first aid. Giving you the extra light-footed XP, it definitely makes it better than Doctor, but it doesn't belong anywhere else but in a C tier trait. It's just not better. All right, next we have the Park Ranger. Park Ranger is another like fire officer who is jack of all trades. Park Ranger costs 4 points. It gives you plus 1 axe, which is decent, plus 1 carpentry, which is, you know, it is what it is. But then it gives you plus 2 foraging and plus 2 trapping. And apparently allows you to move faster through the forest and such. I actually never tested how faster that is, but if you are gonna play like a wilderness survival, just out there in the woods, Park Ranger could be good. Very situational though, like for profession, very situational. Unless you play that, it's not really worth it. Trapping and foraging, you know, don't do that much for you. Then again, you do have that what's it called, the axe skill. So that's good, but it's definitely like it's low B, maybe low B trait. It's not higher. It's a cool one for sure, but it's not higher. Then we'll get to police officer. Now, police officer is 4 points. It gives you the highest aiming that you can get, and right now we all know that in the game the guns are not as loud as they used to be, because they made that change. There's a good chance that will again be reverted in the future builds, but for now, right now, they're not as loud. So using guns, this is the best time to do it. Use the guns, they're good. And police officer gives you the highest aiming possible, which is 3. It gives you 2 reloading. What else does it give you? Plus 1 nimble as well, which is very useful, and that's only for 4 points. Now, police officer gives you 125% boost to your XP gain on aiming. 125%, which is like carpenter for carpentry, something like that. It's higher than veteran on that boost, and it's only 4 points. Police officer in build 41 multiplayer build. It's S tier. It's S tier. I usually in the past I did not play as police officer, but right now, with the guns and how not loud they are, police officer's actual S tier trait to pick. Because you're gonna be leveling up your guns like crazy, and at level 3, you can actually start shooting with pistols and other stuff. You don't need to always go for shotgun, which you all know it's the loudest. And if you're using any mods, you'll probably be getting silencers as well. So with police officer, you just made your life much easier, and you'll be able to just mow down hordes like it's nothing, right? S tier right now. This might change if they make the guns louder again, but if you play with mods and you get silencers, it's still, I think it stays up there in the S tier, like 100%. I'm not backing down on this one. I think police officer is really good profession to start with right now. Even if you are a noob, right? Even if you are like fighting from range, it's actually gonna save your life. All right, we have a couple remaining. Repairman is the next one. So Repairman is interesting because it's like one of the rare ones that actually really nicely boosts your maintenance. If that's the stat you're going for, it gives you plus 2 maintenance, plus 1 short blunt, plus 1 carpentry, and it costs 4 points. So Repairman is cool on that one, but I think it's still situational. Especially, as I said, with the police officer, if in this build you're playing a lot with guns. And like, especially if you play multiplayer, you're probably gonna be playing with a lot with guns. I don't know, I don't think Repairman is that useful. but it's not the worst trait. It can be very situational. I'm gonna put it in like a low B. I'm gonna put it in low B. It can be pretty decent, but it's not amazing. Definitely not. Next we have security guard. So this one is interesting, right? It gives you +1 light-footed, +2 sprinting, right? That is pretty cool. You can be faster and all that stuff if you're really trying to avoid zombies. And light-footed is always decent to have. It costs only 2 points. And interestingly enough, it gives you Night Owl. A Night Owl means you need to sleep less, and apparently you're extra alert while sleeping, so I'm guessing that, you know, when there's zombies nearby, you're gonna wake up faster and all that stuff before they start scratching on your doors and windows. So I guess that can be pretty good. Of course, for multiplayer, that's not really useful. For single player though, it can be a big deal. And light-footed and sprinting are not bad things to have bonuses to leveling. Especially maybe if you're going for more like a sneaky build. Maybe if you're trying to go for more like a build where you're gonna stay up at night and such and just sneak around, then security guard could be actually pretty decent there, you know. And it's only 2 points, right? It's only 2 points. Still, I think I'm gonna put it into like a high B tier. I don't think it's A tier, but high B for sure. It's actually pretty decent. Only costs 2 points. You got that there. Maybe below fire officer, something like this. Security guard, pretty decent, but not extremely amazing. Now, next we have my favorite one, Unemployed. What does it do? Gives you 8 points. You can roleplay as yourself, you know, a failed YouTuber just playing games all day long, unemployed, and then zombie apocalypse happens. Boom! And here we go. Yes, Unemployed, S tier. It's actually S tier. The points you get, the bonus points you get from this, it really allows you to build your character the way you want. It gives you a lot of options, you know. Sure, people could say, hey, you know, just go into sandbox settings and give you extra free points and you've just done the Unemployed. But I don't think that's the business we're dealing with over here, right? We are trying to figure out which profession would be the best in the basic vanilla, let's say, apocalypse play. I think Unemployed allows you to make builds that are gonna keep you alive much longer. You know, those 8 points go a long way to getting, let's say, strong or athletic traits, which are really S tier for me when it comes to positive traits, as I mentioned a couple days ago in my positive trait list. So I think Unemployed is S tier, and it's actually really cool one to use. Now, next we have the Veteran. This is my friend's Goal King's favorite thing to pick. It gives you +2 aiming, +2 reloading, 100% XP boost for those two. Keep in mind, Police Officer actually has 3 aiming and 125% boost in that one. But Veteran gives you desensitized. I always have to look up how to actually say that word. It's desensitized, yes. You're not as sensitive to stuff. Basically, you don't get panicked, right? If you don't know, when you shoot your guns, if you're panicked, if your guy goes, oh my god, zombies, right? Your accuracy plummets, like, it just goes down. Like, even I think with the first tier of panic, it's already 50% less accurate on guns, which is terrible. It can be that sentence. But that being said, you can deal with the panic with beta blockers. Sure, you have to load them, but you can take beta blockers and you can avoid the panic. Second, you stay further away from zombies and you will never actually get that panic trait, or the panic mood will show up because you're going to be further away while shooting. And third, surviving for like 2 months in game, you're almost going to be desensitized. Like, your panic levels are going to be much lower. If you actually watched my Louisville challenge series, you will see, like, we survived for like a month and a half, and like after the first month, or even before that, especially since we were staying at range, our guy was almost never panicked while shooting zombies, or the panic levels really went down really fast. So this thing can all be overcome, and Veteran actually costs 8 points. Like in the past, I might have put it into S tier. Right now, it's an A tier trait and doesn't go higher. I think it's a really cool trait, desensitize. It's really nice, you know, when you're starting with that. It's really cool. You don't need to worry about beta blockers. You don't need to worry about panic. You just stand and shoot. Don't care about nothing in the world. But I think with 125 XP boost, police officer is actually better choice right now. I think it's just better choice in general. I think it just works better. There you go. We only have 2 S tier professions. I'm sure a lot of you are gonna disagree with what I've done over here. I'm sure a lot of you would disagree, so let me know down in comments, what do you think about these? Also, let me know if you'd like to see any other tier lists for anything else in the game. You know, it would be potentially fun to make something like that. And yeah, thank you for watching. Do hope you enjoyed this video, and check out the positive and negative traits tier list as well. And I'll see you next time.